closer. How are you doing, if I may ask? Yes, I know country hard, and maybe you are going through something personal at home or at work. But have you spoken to someone, or you think you can handle it alone? Do you know your problems or even distress can overburden you or throw you off balance and into a deeper problem of mental health, which could come as a case of depression, anxiety disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, substance use disorder, paranoia, and many others? As it is often said, however, a problem shared is problem halved, and that's why we're here for you on Health Options. On this edition, we shall be looking behind the smiles, the hidden struggles of mental health, and as always, we have something for you from the abundance of nature on our Nature's Corner. I am Salwa Kalal Ibrahim. Welcome. Mental health is said to be one of the most conservative topics in many parts of Nigeria. Many are said to be suffering in silence. In some society, people will even say, your village people are after you. Hence the growing number of people suffering from mental health disorder. According to World Health Organization's report, about 20 million Nigerians live with a mental health condition, with many more undiagnosed cases, as well as gaps in access to mental health treatment, and the big one, stigma. But we have two experts on the show with whom we shall be examining the challenges and the solutions to mental health in Nigeria shortly. I have with me in the studio Professor of Psychiatry and Psychopharmacology, Professor Taiwo Lateef Sheikh.
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers.
And of course, a legal practitioner, Yetunde Ayeleso Adebayo. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone at home.
Okay, now let's begin with the basics, and I will begin with you, Prof. Now, give us a breakdown on, mental health in general, the prevalence in Nigeria.
Mental health is the foundation of your health, because mental health determines your choices that will lead to good health. So if you are not in good mental health, you cannot choose correctly choices that will lead you to good health. The aggregate of mental health is about how we think, how we feel, and how we relate to others, how we respond to stresses. Mental health conditions are varied. There is what we call mental health distress, and there is what we call mental health disorder. They are not the same. Mental health itself is something that every human being possesses. We all have mental health. Quite a number of people are distressed, and very few people are actually sick that would say they have mental disorder. We all have a propensity for mental illness. 1 in 4 of us have a tendency to have one mental health challenge or the other during our lifetime. That doesn't mean that at any point in time people have it. However, about 1 in 8 of us will have one type of mental health disorder at any point in time. This is even more in people who are in countries like Nigeria, where you have conflict, you have terrorism, you have banditry, people are struggling to go to work, to pay school fees. This is, however, even worse for young people under the age of 30 and adolescents.
Wow.
They tend to even have higher prevalence of these conditions than the general public. Next in line is also mothers who have just given birth to babies, or those who are pregnant. They also tend to have a higher tendency for such mental health challenges. This is just to give you a general overview.
Okay. So, Yetunde, if you're following us now, do you think we speak about this issue, enough?
Yes, I would say that mental health issues are not very well discussed enough.
Okay.
Before now, the before the enactment of the National Mental Health Act, we had the Lunacy Act that defined mental illness as lunacy, as madness. So, but with the inception of the National Mental Health Act in 2022, the Act adopted a more inclusive definition to what mental illness is. It's recognized the fact that mental illness could be severe and it could be mild. So, with this new provision, it's kind of open a room where people can be able to discuss their mental health condition without feeling as if they are mad, without feeling the fear of facing stigma or discrimination. So far, I think with the coming in of the new Mental Health Act, it's opening room for people to discuss their mental health condition.
Nigeria is a very heterogenic society. We have, different people who might not really understand that somebody is going through something. How you describe the extent of mental health issues in Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Salwa. We have what we call subcultural belief system. That any society you go, there are some cultural assumptions. Some of these assumptions are based on myths, some are based on misconceptions, some are based on misunderstanding of what mental health and what mental illness is all about. Building on these myths, misconception, and misunderstanding, misinterpretation can lead to some stereotype behavior that will now lead to exclusion and stigma. This stigma in our society is so profound and is one of the major limiting factors to either provision of mental health services or even uptake of mental health services that are available.
Okay. Now, still on you, Prof. Now, how do we identify? People would like to know, because we have a lot of people, living in silence, like I mentioned earlier, of people, and there are symptoms of people who might be suffering from mental health, and then maybe they might not be aware, or they don't know what to do.
Yes, thank you very much. The first thing is to give people voice, to be able to talk, to be able to discuss what problem they have. I have headache, I have backache, to be able to confide. Depression, as the name goes, something that is down, something that is low. It's a disorder of the mood. But the symptom is not restricted to mood alone. But the mood change is very central to depression, even though there are other symptoms that are associated with depression. Most likely, the first thing you notice that the person appears unhappy. The person is withdrawing, is not mixing with other people. The person is showing features of hopelessness, worthlessness. I am not who I am supposed to be. Everybody is better than me. And as you move on, symptoms of bodily complaints, feeling weak, feeling tired without doing anything that is exhaustive, complaining, referring to even joints that some people will be ascribing to as fever, as malaria. It will come with poor sleep, inadequate sleep, or waking up early hours and not being able to go back. It comes with inability to eat, unexplained loss of appetite, and when you are not eating, of course, constipation will follow. And when you go to our communities, they say the person has basir or jadi and things like that. It will also come with some other, symptoms that may even threaten the person's life, that you start feeling like, let the whole world come to an end. It's not meaningful to me anymore. And then suicide thoughts will start coming in. It can be mild in magnitude, it can be moderate, and it can be severe.
Okay. So we'll talk about, extensively about how we can help this set of people. But Yetunde, let me come back to you now and talk about the Mental Health Act of 2021, right? Now, does this, like Prof explained earlier, when you go, you see people are not given, you know, enough attention. People with type of mental health disorder are not given the required, you know, attention in terms of budget or when they are looking for work. What does the Mental Health Act of 2021 entail? Does it protect, really protect? Are we seeing it in action, or what is going on?
So far, we're yet to get the best out of the act because of some barriers. And what are these barriers? We have institutional and legal framework barriers hindering the effectiveness of the provision of the National Mental Health Act. The National Mental Health Act created the Mental Health Service Department at the Ministry of Health. And one of the responsibilities of that department is to enforce its provisions. But right now, at the Ministry of Health, what we have at the Ministry of Health is a mental health program. A mental health program is one of the responsibilities of the department. So not having a department that is functioning, not having a department that is meant to enforce patients' rights, enforce rights of persons with mental illness, is actually hindering us from getting the best out of the act. Although there are so many rights, so many beautiful provisions that covers consent, informed consent, confidentiality, access to quality health care, but because of this, well, I say absence of this regulatory body is withholding better access to patients' rights.
A lot of gaps there.
Very well.
Okay, so Prof. Anyetunde, stay with us. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll look at the solutions since we've spoken about the problem. Stay with us.
Kuka that's the name in Hausa.
That is call it Oshe.
In Yoruba.
Oshe, Igi Oshe.
Okay, so I know it's Kuka.
I am delighted to have you join us on Health Options, the program that not only tracks government policies on health.
The total cholesterol is made up of some components. The high density lipoprotein, which is the good cholesterol, the low density hypoprotein, which is the bad.
Cervical cancer, a type of cancer that develops in a woman's cervix.
There were opportunities for women to get screened for both cervical and breast cancer, maybe up to 30,000, but we'll be having figures of 5,000.
Many thanks for being there. And if you just tune in, the program is Health Options at the NTA. And we have been talking about mental health in Nigeria. I have with me Professor Taiwo Latif Sheikh and a legal practitioner, Yetunde Ayeleso Adebayo. Thanks both of you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, so I'll take it up from you, Prof. How accessible is mental health care in Nigeria? And what existing mental health rehabilitation programs do we have in Nigeria to address genuine community integration?
Well, in terms of accessibility, if I try to take you back to what is published, there is what is called mental health treatment gap, which is the gap between available services and those who have very serious mental health condition within the past 12 months. And studies have shown that in this part of the world, that gap is as much as 85%, which means only 15% of those who have serious mental health conditions are able to access care in the past 12 months. So the way forward now is to integrate mental health fully across all the state and FCT into primary care in this country. And we hope that by the time we are able to fully integrate mental health into primary care, we'll be able to carry mental health care to the community level, because we will have community health extension workers that will also be trained, and they spend part of their time within the community and only very limited time within the clinic. So we are hoping that if we are able to integrate mental health care into primary health care in Nigeria across all states, then we are going to increase access to mental health care.
Okay. Now, still on you, Prof, what role do you think we can play as a society, as individuals, now to encourage people, you know, to come out to seek for help?
Mental health care is a responsibility of everybody in any society. So awareness has to be whole society approach. We need to carry awareness to every nook and corner, to every, you know, citizen, whether young or old, whether male or female, whether it's irrespective of our religion or ethnicity. Mental health care is a responsibility of all of us. So awareness must be a whole society approach to awareness. We need to target policymakers. We need to target political leaders, community leaders, religious leaders. We need to target them in terms of awareness. So that awareness is very, very important.
Yetunde, I was also going to ask you, you know, how we can strengthen our institutions. What do you think now, as a legal practitioner now, we can do to strengthen this institution and even our laws to be able to protect, you know, this group of people now?
Thank you very much, Selma. Like I mentioned earlier, the National Mental Health Act does not operate alone. Its provision have to be incorporated into other legal framework. The Act provides rights to employment, that persons with mental illness have rights to employment. What does our labor law say? Are there provisions weighing down that right? The Act provides that persons with mental illness have rights to have access to adequate and affordable mental health care. What is our national insurance scheme saying? Are there benefits that covers mental illness? Are they explicit? And what is the extent of their coverage? So the provision to get the best out of the National Mental Health Act, the provision of the Act have to be in sync with other provisions of other provisions of other legal framework. In addition to that, I think legal practitioners have a role to play. We must not override patients' rights in place while promoting technicalities. So when we think strengthening of institutional framework, legal practitioners' duty, I believe we'll get the best out of the National Mental Health Act.
I would like to ask you in particular, Prof, what are some of the misconceptions you think people have about mental health illness?
Wow. These are plenty and they are varied from
one most important one because of our time.
From one community to the other. But most people in most communities think that mental health conditions are spiritually, you know, caused or due to some evil activities, or is someone that is operating from the village and things like that. These are misconceptions, these are myths that people carry around, which are actually not responsible for mental health conditions. Mental health conditions are evidence-based and they have evidence-based treatments, and we can take care of it in that manner.
Professor of Psychiatry and Psychopharmacology, Professor Taiwo Latif Sheikh, and Yetunde Ayeliso Adebayo, a legal practitioner. It's a pleasure to speak to both of you, and thank you for coming on Health Options.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, let's head on to our Nature's Corner.
Today we want to talk about acupuncture. First and foremost, acupuncture is not an English word. It was coined out from two Latin words, acus and punctus. Acus means needles, punctus means point. So when you join the two together, it's called needle point. For example, when you are breathing very fast, maybe you have asthmatic attack, acupuncture can do it in such a way that your breathing could be normalized in a matter of seconds without taking inhaler. Or your blood pressure starts running high, acupuncture can bring it back to normal. Or you're having very acute stomach pain, acupuncture can calm it down in a matter of minutes. Acupuncture has the ability to boost your immunity. And that is why acupuncture can never cause any infection like HIVs and the rest of them. It has never happened. But then, care must be taken. The needle you use for a patient, you don't transfer it. You use it and dispose it. Like if you have diabetes, for example, or you have sexual issues, infertility, sometimes it could be due to hormonal imbalance. Acupuncture can correct it. The sixth effect is called motor recovery. Motor recovery means when your body can no longer carry out some necessary sensations, like you're having paralysis or you're having some numbness in your system. Acupuncture can activate your system to be able to allow the nerve, the sensations to pass freely in paralysis and stroke and so on. Then we have psychological effect too. This has to do with some people who are having some habits that is becoming addictions. Acupuncture can help to correct it. Acupuncture can be used to correct some gynecological issues, infertility. Infertility can affect both men and women. Acupuncture can address all this. People have asked so many questions regarding the needles. Some people said, is it that you soak it in a concoction? Or what kind of needle was it made of? This is a thing that can be fabricated there in Nigeria. You know, this is made of just needles. They are just needles. Because you can also use your ordinary hand to relieve pain. For example, if you have a headache, this is what you can do yourself at home. Please pay attention. This is your right hand. This is your left hand. You see a line here. You can bring the hand, bring it together like this. When you bring it together like this, you can allow the tip of this thumb, this is called the thumb, allow it to drop like this. You see, my thumb is resting on the most potent analgesic point in the body. See, this is my thumb. So how will I apply the pressure? I can apply the pressure when I allow my index finger to meet the tip of that thumb, just like this. Here, and then I apply pressure. See, when you do this, you press it, you do this. By the time you do this, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you shake your head, the headache is gone. Yes, you don't need to take any drug for that one. Now I want to now use the needles. What will I do? This is the amateur method. Each needle is equipped with a needle guide. This is a needle guide, and this is the acupuncture needle. Why the needle guide? The needle guide is meant for amateur, and like I said, acupuncture is not painful, because I know some people when they see needles they will be fidgeting, but this one is not painful at all. So the first step is to insert the needle inside the needle guide, just like this. The needle is inside the needle guide. I want to treat her of headache if she has any. This put it on the point for headache. This point is called Hoku. Hoku. Hoku in Chinese means the great pain eliminator, and it's located on large intestine 4. It's one of the most popular acupuncture points in the body, and it's the best analgesic point in the body. See, now the thing is there. See, the needle will fall. See. So what I will do is I will now tap it with my index finger. See. And then I will now do this. That's it. It's not painful. But as it is working. If anyone is having headache, when you insert these needles, under 30 seconds the headache goes away. It's as simple as that. So, and then when you remove it, there is no blood. There shouldn't be any blood. That is if you are professional with it. No blood, no bleeding. Now, assuming it is the issue of asthmatic attack, you are in an environment, your patient is breathing. So what will you do? This is the point for asthmatic attack. Put the needle like this. See. And you stimulate. When you stimulate like that continuously, within 30 seconds, the breathing will come back to normal. And even if it is in the case of cough, there are some cough that we just come, we call them spontaneous cough. Maybe because of the AC or anything, you see a guest on high table start coughing. If you are an acupuncturist, you are there, use this point. the cough will subside immediately. Or if you see a patient who is bleeding through the nose, which is called hemoptysis, put the needle here and just stimulate it. It will stop the bleeding through the nose immediately before another medical care arrives. You will save that patient. And if one has fainted, this is very important. You see that hole? That is where you are going. You put the key just in the middle and you switch it like this. The patient will wake up immediately.
This is where we wrap up on this week's episode of the program. But before we go, remember, it is okay not to be okay. But please talk to someone, for a problem shared is a problem halved. You can catch up again with these and previous episodes of the program on our YouTube channel at NTA Networks, where we also welcome your questions, comments, and suggestions. Thank you for watching and see you again next week.